I just created and ran an entire book fair by myself, and I want to talk about the reasons I did it, the lessons I learned, and why this is going to be very applicable to you if you are a poet who wants to take action and control of your art. This is the Arts and Offers video podcast where we talk about that intersection between poetry, art, and business so that way you can live on your poetry and the guide you in this process. There's me. What's up, guys? My name is Geoff with an O. I am a full poet. It's just me because I just wanted to do a quick recap of the book fair that we held over the weekend to give some backstory for this because I think this is really important, especially today, because I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but one thing you see in the arts world over and over and over again is that funding is becoming a lot less reliable, grants are getting cut, arts organizations are really struggling. And this is something that we're seeing certainly here in Columbus. There is an organization in the city that traditionally had a book fair on the date that I held mine. But something happened. They made an announcement on social media saying that the event was going to be canceled. And the reason they gave was staffing issues. Now, I don't know. I'm not involved with the organization, so I don't know if the staffing issues was because of grant funding. I don't know if they're having some internal issues. Whatever the reason is, though, if the reason for the event for not holding a book for it was staffing issues, I was just like, I don't buy it. I don't see why staffing issues could be the reason that you can't hold the event at all. Maybe you could hold a scaled down version. Maybe you could change some things if you really want it to happen. And so what I decided was, hey, if we have this date that opens up, let's replace it. Let's do something, because I know that there were poets and there were writers that had originally attended or planned to attend the event, and now they had nothing. And I don't think that's, I don't even know if fair is the right word, but I didn't like that feeling that these people had planned for this. This is a big opportunity for them. A lot of people don't know how to promote their art. They're not sure of how to do it, or they're not putting in the work to, or whatever the reason is. They rely on events like this to get the word out. So when these events disappear, that hurts them. And so it's a combination of those two things. Not believing that staffing is the reason that the event couldn't happen, and also not liking that feeling I was having that artists who relied on events like this to get the word out on their work would no longer have that opportunity. I didn't like that. And so there's even a third component. The third component is that there's an assumption on the part of these organizations, but also on the part of artists and poets, that if these events don't happen, then there's no way to get the work out. And I don't agree with that either. So what was the response? Well, the response was, one, I now had a date to plan an event. Two, I needed that event in some way to substitute for what was lost. And three, I needed to make sure that poets had the opportunity to get the work done. And so those three things came together, and I decided to launch a book fair. Now, I'm fortunate. Well, ish fortunate. I'm taking a risk because I have a poetry grant. This is me. This is something I'm paying rent towards. I am diverse as a for-profit. It's not nonprofit, because we're, again, trying to teach people that, hey, you can live on poetry on your own terms, not on philanthropy, not on donations. You can do this yourself. And so I viewed this event as a model to say, hey, if you want to create a platform for your work, you can do it. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait for other people to tell you to do it. You can just do it yourself. And so I launched this book fair as a demonstration to people that, hey, let's see what is possible. You can do this too. You can put in the work to make this happen as well. And so I already had the venue. I had to also book an additional venue a couple doors down, because I wanted to have two concurrent things. I wanted to have the book fair itself here in this space where we're going to have a recurring series of panels throughout the day. So basically to have a constant influx of people on topics that are of interest to writers and poets. And then in the other venue, we had poets that were showcasing their work. So tables where poets could show off their books or other related merch. And they could provide that for people. So logistically, we were set. The next steps were I had to actually let poets know that, hey, you can sign up. And so basically I had a form where if people were interested in booking their own panels, a big part of this is I want poets to take charge of their own poetry and their own art. So it's not an invitation based thing. It's that, hey, if you believe that you have something that's worth sharing with the world, advocate for yourself. And so I had slots. I told people, hey, if you have a group of 3 poets that can speak on a panel, register a spot and come through. And that's what poets did. And so it was just the first people that claimed those slots, they got them. And, you know, I talked with the panelists and we learned what their topics were and we learned their bios and things like that. But this is people taking ownership of their art. If you believe in what you're doing, advocate for yourself. Do it. And so I'm really against that gatekeeping model. This isn't about contests and permission. This is about if you believe in yourself, here's an opportunity to show it. And if it goes well, great. And if it doesn't go well, then you learn a lesson along the way. You know, that's very much into the verses mindset. But we're really against the gatekeeping of the traditional poetry world. And it's the same thing with the tables. So with the tables, people had to email me, and they emailed me. They were able to get a slot at a table. And that's pretty much how it went. The poets that signed up for table space came through. The panelists came through. And overall, it was an event I was really happy with. Now, because part of this event was also to demonstrate to people what is possible with only one person, what can you do if it's just you? That was part of the demonstration of this. And so I am happy with how things went. I also understand, you know, it's a little controversial because, hey, if I had found a team, you know, there's probably some other things that we could have done. And some ideas that other people had, especially for the book room. This is something that I think looking back on, you know, the promotion is always going to be a hard thing. I don't know how many people came through specifically for the books. It seemed every time I stopped by there, poets were talking to themselves. It was almost more like a networking thing. You know, if you're a poet that went there and you had your own books, it was a chance for you to meet other poets, swap work. We also had Matthias was going through shooting some interviews with poets as well, which you'll be seeing on the channel soon. So, you know, there's certainly some other opportunities that I wanted to make sure that everyone who came had access to, if you're a poet who brought books to sell or if you're a panelist. There are certainly other things that, you know, if I had a whole team, you know, we could have done to push even further. But in some ways, that's kind of not the goal of this first time. This first time was now, forever, we have this example of, hey, this isn't what an event could look like if it's just you and you want to make it happen. If we do future iterations, you know, then we can build a larger team. We can focus on some other things. We have some ideas, you know, for instance, maybe having like an open mic in the room or near the room where we have people selling books, or another poetry event doing raffles and things like that. You know, there are some tweaks I would certainly make, and that's going to be true for any event, like the conference series, the Poet Assembly that we had. But overall, I was really happy with how the event went. If you came out, thank you. If you expressed interest in this, thank you. But I hope that whatever the lesson is, maybe you're not in Columbus, maybe you're just watching this and you just kind of want an update on how the book fair went. I think it went well. But the bigger lesson, I hope, is that advocate for your work. You're that biggest advocate for your work. No one else. You know, I'm thinking about the poets who came for books, you know. How do I put this? I was doing a lot of promotion on my site. You know, I have a newsletter. I was always talking about the event on the newsletter. I have a group chat on Instagram, poetry event calendar. I'm constantly reminding people about the event. I'm sending direct messages to people about, hey, we have a book fair, you know, reaching out to arts organizations so people can let their people know. From a promotion standpoint, aside from paying for ads, you know, I'm doing a lot. Something I could do more. There's always more you could do, right? I could have gone more in person to different events and talk to people about the book fair. That would probably be the next step if I did this again. Whether me or I might hire someone to say, hey, go to these events and pass out these flyers or tell people about the book fair. But at the same time, I'm also sending flyers to panelists. I'm sending flyers out to people who are going to showcase their books. And I'm sending them flyers to be like, hey, you can, you know, post this on your own socials. You can send out your own emails and things like that. I don't know how much work went in on their side. I think a lot of people don't fully understand the act of promotion and how intentional it has to be and the need for volume. One of the things we talked about in the last episode of the semester is like, if you're trying to gauge attendance is very easy to gauge, because if you have 20 people that directly say, hey, I am coming to your event, you're going to plan for about a fifth of those seats. So it's 20 people. I'm planning for 4 or 5 seats, maybe 6. If it's people that are just like, they send you a message but then never follow up, then you can count maybe 10% of that number. And then if it's people who just like or share the event, then you can count on like a 100th of whatever that number is in terms of what you can expect for attendance. So attendance is relatively predictable. So if you really want to get the word out for an event, and maybe you're thinking about your own event and creating something on your own, keep these numbers in mind. You need to reach a lot of people. You're like, if someone is filling a 100-seat room, then that means that the amount of people that have seen it is probably in the tens of thousands, if not more. And that's just the reality. It's a volume thing. And so if you're thinking about creating your own event, obviously you want to be thinking about these aspects of promotion, but you also want to make sure that the people you bring on are active in their own promotion, or they're realistic about expectations. Because if you're expecting, hey, I'm going to go to this event and sell out books, but you're not putting in that work to bring in people to sell the books too, well then, whose fault is that? The organizer can only do so much. And the organizer also has to be clear on those sorts of expectations in the beginning. Because if the organizer is making promises or things like that about attendance, well, that's certainly different than organizing event and not making any of those guarantees. So if you're an attendee in those events and you're worried about it, then you need to speak to the organizer. And if you're an organizer, then maybe you need to be clear about what you're expecting for numbers. And there are some other disadvantages too, right? We were doing rain. It was a little windy at times, so like the weather wasn't cooperating. Some other things as well. We're located on part of town that a lot of poets aren't located on, or at least the more active poets. A lot of them are on the north side or downtown or east side, south side, west side, not so much. So again, those are just some quick lessons from thinking about the book fair. I was really happy with it. I'm excited for you all to see the panels. This is another reason why I'm not too particular about attendance. Attendance for events doesn't really bother me, because I'm worried about you guys. You guys watching this, people on the channel, you guys are the people I'm especially creating for. I want to give people who attend in person great experiences. They get the first taste of everything, so they get that kind of premiere level experience. But everything I create in person, it has in mind the production. And so even if people weren't able to attend the panels, I'm excited to be able to deliver them to you across the Diversus platform very, very soon. If you have questions about the book fair we had, you're thinking about organizing your own events or anything related to poetry and business and how to live on poetry, it'd be great to see them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for your time. I'll see you later. Have a good day. Have a good night. Good afternoon.